And he has failed to take a stand where it matters. So if he won't...
He's failed to take a stand where it matters, killing poor American children.
Every hardworking American to afford a decent life for themselves and their families. And we have a greater opportunity to do that and to build coalitions under new leadership. We have to rip off the Band-Aid. We have to get back on a better...
Wait, he says we want to build coalitions under new leadership, but he's like ousting him because he collaborated with the Democrats.
Pretty predetermined. And this one, I'm not so
Something
sure.
he forced his hand into doing.
I am sure that we've made the right argument. That this place deserves single subject spending bills, that we should have 72 hours to read a bill, that something that spends more than $100 million shouldn't be put on the suspension agenda such that we can't amend it, and there shouldn't be secret side deals made on a continuing resolution to lump Ukraine in with border security. That is not right for Ukraine or border security because it fails to give either of those issues the dignity that they would require. But we can return that dignity to this House. We can get back on a better path. We can have single subject appropriations bills. We can set a budget top line. We haven't had a budget in this place since I was in high school. So let's get a budget. Let's get our act together. Let's get on with it. Let's vacate the chair. And let's get a better speaker. I yield back.
It's like that one meme, the worst person you know made a great point in respect to the funding of the military-industrial complex in Ukraine. Yeah, except it's not real. Matt Gaetz doesn't give a fuck about that, dude. What are you, crazy? He is a careerist. He only cares about getting more runtime, getting more fucking camera time, and being disruptive because he recognizes that his base of support will not only not punish him for being disruptive, even to the Republicans, but they will actually celebrate him. And given that there are plenty of constraints and plenty of issues with the way that Congress works, ultimately, you can make reasonable points even if you have no genuine interest in making those changes. Shouldn't Dems be pro-unseating McCarthy to make the Republicans look more disorganized? Yes, they are. Hakeem Jeffries actually came out a couple hours ago and said Democrats will not only, they won't stay out of it, they will actually vote against Kevin McCarthy. So he will be voted out in this process. It's good overall for the Democratic Party, I would say, because it's chaos in the Republican Party, which is a clown show. It's chaos caused by how many concessions they've made and how they have basically whipped their fan base into thinking that like all manner of obstructionism is actually good because the ultimate goal is to destroy the federal government. And a good way to do that is by dismantling the legislative body, picking it apart piece by piece. So yeah, the House GOP can select anyone to be speaker, right? Do they think there's a chance we get Trump as speaker? I mean, no, I don't think that'll happen. But yes, anyone can be voted in as speaker of the House. This is true. They could fucking vote for me if they wanted to. I mean, I don't like Hakeem Jeffries, okay? But would he be better than Kevin McCarthy? I mean, marginally, yeah. But I don't like him. I want to point that out, okay? I am not a fan of Hakeem Jeffries. He is openly anti-progressive wing of the Democratic Party. He is Nancy Pelosi's guy. He has said insane things about Israel, like literally. He is probably one of the most like heavy-handed Zionist congresspersons we have. Yeah, he's just awful. Boebert voted no for now. Oh, wow. Whoa. Never Kevers, hold the line. What the fuck, Boebert? You can't do anything. Yeah, currently as it stands, there are 11 GOP votes against tabling the motion to vacate so far. This needs 5+ all Dems to oust McCarthy from speakership. What happens if Ye wins? Does Bro just lose his job in 4K? I mean, he loses his position. He doesn't like get impeached. He is still the representative of Bakersfield. And the funniest part about this, of course, is that they don't have an alternative as far as I understand. Kever made contradictory and impossible promises just to get a job. Yes, but like in the beginning, he didn't have to make those promises. If he was popular enough in the Republican Party, and if he was like Nancy Pelosi knows how to fucking bring caucuses together. She knows how to whip her party. As much as I don't like her for ideological reasons, like I will never sit here and act like Nancy Pelosi doesn't know what the fuck she's doing and doesn't know how to, 1, fundraise, and 2, whip the party in whichever direction it needs to go towards, right? She is infinitely better than, yes, Chuck Schumer and Dick Durbin, who absolutely suck ass, but they have to suck ass. It is by design for them to, the Senate is designed in a way for them to suck ass because there's always a rotating villain in the Senate that will inevitably throw bills, spike bills, and just like kick it off, and the Democrats will just go, oh, we have no way of doing progressive legislation. Nancy Pelosi, on the other hand, is very good. Kevin McCarthy is not popular. He's just not well liked. He always wanted to be speaker, and he's not good at shutting these dudes the fuck up. And the Democratic Party and the accompanying media infrastructure, like the MSNBCs and the CNNs and the New York Times of the world, absolutely will bully and eviscerate those who stray away from whatever like the liberals who control government at any point in time want, whereas the Republican media infrastructure is so good at obstructionist policies and just like crippling the legislative body and promoting people that do that, you know, people like Matt Gaetz will not be bullied out of their position usually. Yeah, the live count as it stands is 136 no's on ousting McCarthy as speaker. 126 Dems have voted yes, and 0 Dems have voted no. 7 Republicans have voted yes as well. It's over. It's definitely Jover at this point. Andy Biggs, Ken Buck, Tim Burchett, Eli Crane, Matt Gaetz, Bob Good, and Nancy Mace voted to oust Kevin McCarthy.
They might be over the edge right now because we just don't know how many members are out. As I indicated, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, the former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, is not here today. She's attending the funeral in California for the former senator, the late Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein.
It is wild that Nancy Pelosi's not there to fucking drive the knife because she's too busy going to Dianne Feinstein's funeral.
Vote or change their vote at the very end. So that's why, you know, it could be
Feinstein ruining another vote even
right
after
now.
death. Yes, dude. Feinstein's legacy continues, okay? Her fucking carcass is capable of like ruining a good moment.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're coming on the air with breaking news and a major shift in power on Capitol Hill. The House just voted to remove Speaker Kevin McCarthy from his post in a high-stakes vote just now on the House floor. It comes after McCarthy, the top Republican, cut a deal with Democrats to avert a government shutdown over the weekend that angered some in his own party whose demands were dropped in the negotiations. It happened because one of those Republicans, Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, introduced the resolution to remove McCarthy just last night. And it's the first time this process has ever successfully removed a House Speaker in American history. Let's go right now to senior Capitol Hill correspondent Garrett Haig. Garrett, what happens now?
Well, Lester, a speakership that began in historic fashion less than a year ago now ends in historic fashion with Kevin McCarthy, the first speaker to ever be removed from that position by a vote on the floor. What we'll see in the immediate term is the naming of a speaker pro tem, a temporary speaker, a caretaker speaker who will lead the House through the next election to replace Kevin McCarthy and select someone else to be second in line for the presidency. This could be a contentious process as well. The speaker lost 8 Republican votes, along with every Democrat voting to vacate the chair.
Do you think he would have predicted something? I mean, yeah, the never-ever said that they were going to do this, and they did.
An open question. The House will be largely paralyzed until that question can be answered, Lester.
There's nothing funnier to me. I'm sorry, we're going to get to what this means for the government going forward, but there's nothing funnier to me than like trying to bully the Democrats to vote to save Kevin McCarthy.
He's one of the names that has been floated about, but I think big picture, Lester, it really highlights the deep divisions within the Republican Party right now. The fact that this is happening after that showdown over trying to keep the government open, and the question becomes, what does happen next? Look, I've been talking to Republicans who are expressing frustration about what they're seeing on Capitol Hill. The fact that this is going on against the backdrop of 2024. They say, look, to the point that
how does
Garrett
it
was
benefit
just
the
making,
Democrats to vote out McCarthy? What do you mean? It's the Republican Party rat fucking itself. Why would that not benefit the Democrats? Why would the Democrats care about the Republican Party destroying itself because they have a slim majority. Anytime you think about anything,
Think about our
assume what would the Republicans do in a situation if the roles were reversed. If the Democrats operate in a similar capacity, that means they're doing a good fucking job.
I think
Okay?
the question and the concern within the Republican Party is, will this type of activity on Capitol Hill, what GOP candidate Mike Pence has described as chaos, by the way, today, will that take away from those high
Kevin
marks
Subs in
that they are
shambles
getting?
right
And
now. Yeah,
from the perspective
smoking
of
on
the
that
voters,
Kevin
they are
pack.
looking at a series of somewhat chaotic
Never Kever's
events. The
rising
standoff
up
over the
once
debt
again.
ceiling, the near government shutdown, the GOP frontrunner who's facing 4 indictments. So the big question, could this mar them heading into 2024?
So you're saying it helps Democrats, but it fucks over the American people. House is deadlocked now for who knows how long. Countdown to shutdown in just 45 days. That is an insane fucking situation to put on the Democrats. Kevin McCarthy and the Republican Party internally caused this from the jump because of their slim majority. If they actually cared about the American population and not pushing for a shutdown, they wouldn't have literally tried to push for a shutdown and then did this to Kevin because he had no other option but to literally continue budgeting and continue funding the government for 45 extra days, dog. It's insane. And more insane because we already had this conversation like 2 months ago where they said, okay, that's fine. You'll make some concessions to us and we'll promise, we'll do one of those like pinky promises where I fucking do this behind my back to not have this happen literally right now. But you can't do anything when you have an actual terrorist in your ranks. A terrorist who will not be punished by his own voters.
Let me bring in.
Well, the stages of grief, I think, are in progress right now.
Let's listen to a little of this.
Colleagues, I think there was a stage of denial, and I've certainly experienced a good amount
He's
of their
so
anger.
happy. Look
And
at
now
this
we appear to be
little
headed toward
shithead.
bargaining. I think the world of Steve Scalise. I think he'd make a phenomenal speaker.
Has anyone spoken to you?
Are you afraid of getting expelled?
I'm afraid of $33 trillion in debt crushing the working people in my district. I'm afraid of the dollar losing its status as the global reserve currency. If they want to expel me, let me know when they have the vote.
Yeah, that will definitely, the dollar will, you're afraid of the dollar losing its value, which is why we're shutting the government down, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, no, that'll certainly help, idiot.
That led to today's ouster of the now outgoing.
You know what he's actually afraid of? The FBI. Continuing its active investigation into him sex trafficking minors. That's what he's really afraid of. Let's be real.
The chamber, Matt Gaetz, continue to talk. Let me bring in Chief
Maybe
White
he's
House.
doing all this and boosting his public profile so when the inevitable fucking FBI investigation comes to a conclusion or something, he can be like, they're ousting me because I was a brave truth teller about American debt or some shit. You know what I mean? Maybe. I'm just saying. I'm just spitballing at this point because like there's not any real reason to do this other than to say fuck it, YOLO. And for that, I thank the Republicans for doing that. Oh, never Kevers, rise up, baby! A new speaker rise from the ashes. Yeah, Santos, it's his time. It's his time. He deserves
it. In exchange for
it.
favors, we are breaking the fever now, and we should elect a speaker who's better.
So if not Kevin McCarthy,
I mean, it's cool because like Matt Gaetz basically took on the Tea Party momentum in the exact same ways and pushed it to a degree that like the original benefactors of the Tea Party, the facilitators of the Tea Party, would fucking despise this moment. Do you see what I'm saying? He saw, just like Trump, the momentum that the Tea Party had, okay, which was astroturfed out the fucking wazoo by the Koch brothers, or the Koch brother now, and he did what they've been doing in perpetuity since its inception, and now it's actually hurting the same capital owners who just only want to weaponize this kind of thing to their benefit to like continue crippling the federal government. Because like he's not going to actually be able to make demands that get addressed by the broader Republican majorities, like, I don't know, gutting child tax benefits or some shit. I don't think that that's going to happen. I say the FBI continue its investigation instead of stepping away from said investigation on Matt Gaetz's misdealings with minors. That's what I say.
Will you yourself nominate Steve Scalise for Speaker of the House?
Maybe. I want to hear from him. I mean, I'm not here to make.
Dude, that's my favorite
Where
part.
Mr.
He doesn't
Scalise
even have a
stands with
guy.
his
He doesn't
rehabilitation
even.
recovery,
He doesn't even know
I
if
would
Steve
give
Scalise
him the
wants it,
deference
dude.
to
He's
be
like,
able
no,
to
I'm gonna
decide
do
whether or
it.
not he'd like to put himself forward as a candidate. But he'd be
Dude, that's
the type
so
of person
good.
that
This
I
is
could-
so
I could see
perfect, dude. This is a perfect demonstration of Republican obstructionist policies in display. They do not have any real goals. They've actually made all of the tangible policy goals, like eviscerating fucking, federal regulation, the regulatory body in general. Like, they achieved all of that. So they have nothing left. So now they're just like spitballing and fighting one another with no reason, with no real transparent objective in sight. They're just kind of fucking each other up now for no fucking particular reason. They're just like bored. They said, YOLO, let's fuck shit up. Suffering from success, exactly. They forgot that you're not supposed to go that far. You're not supposed to win all the fucking time. And now they're doing it. They said, fuck it, YOLO, don't give a shit.
Former President Trump weighing in on Truth Social saying, quote, "Why is it that Republicans are always fighting among themselves? Why aren't they fighting the radical left Democrats who are destroying our country?" Judge Janine.
Wait,
I'm furious.
What?
First of all,
What?
without
They're the radical Democrats.
historic, something like this hasn't happened in well over 100 years. And now what we've got is total chaos when the Republicans are playing out their infighting on national television in a historic way instead of fighting Joe Biden's policies. The one time we are
What
up in
policy,
virtually every
dumbass?
metric.
You have no policy. You won everything. What policy?
You've got the
What do you want to
Republicans-
kill women that even think about getting an abortion? Like, what's the policy you have? Like a federal mandate?
They
What
have been
policy?
trying to
Just like
do-
melting homeless people? Melting unemployed people. If you're on unemployment insurance for more than fucking 4 months, we just kill you. Or we come to your house and we use the National Guard to make you get back to work at gunpoint. If you're on disability, we just fucking kill you. Is that the policy? What policies remain in the Republican Party, really?
Are now joining with the MAGA Republicans to oust Speaker McCarthy. This is like the devil is in the middle of all of this chaos, and Donald Trump is right. Why are the Republicans fighting with each other like this?
That's
All right,
fucked
so
up.
Chad Pergram is telling us.
Oh, that's
they
from
might
January
not even
4th.
meet tonight. They may meet tonight. It's all in flux. Greg, you've been following this very closely all day. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, the thing is, I got to leave because they need a speaker.
You do.
So I just got to.
I hate the distinction between MAGA Republicans and Republicans that the Democratic Party has created, but I'll be honest with you. I also find it particularly funny that they have started using that distinction on the Fox side because everyone's a fucking liberal at the end of the day. There is no distinction between MAGA Republicans and Republicans in general. They are all extremist psychopaths. Stop trying to make a distinction between MAGA Republicans and regular Republicans. They're all fucking psychos,
They
dude.
broke promises. I had to go find out what these promises were, right? He promised to use the 2022 baseline numbers as appropriation numbers
Especially
for this year.
when the Republican Party goes, Democrats are either pedophiles or communist pedophiles that are vampires. All of them are vampires. On the liberal side, they're like, oh, I don't know. Let's go back to a reasonable Republican Party. The reasonable Republican Party wants to assassinate you. Now, obviously, they don't literally want to do that in Congress, but they're caving and capitulated to their base that fucking demands that from them. So shut the fuck up about this distinction is what I would say to the Democrats. But right now, today, we're all a little bit more liberal, okay? This is a day where the Never-Kevers and the Democratic Party joined hands in harmony and ousted Kevin McCarthy as House Speaker, the first House Speaker in history to lose a no confidence vote and end up losing their position as House Speaker. That's right. He's a historic loser.
Don't care about. This has no effect on our viewers. Does it make our streets safer? No. Does it make our borders real again? No. Does it make our gas prices go down? No. It's just sound and fury signifying incompetence. It's kind of pathetic. But that's my opinion, and I'll be going now.
So
this is what forced the vote looks like. Does anyone else think this is helping push conservative policy? Yeah, exactly. That's why the forced the vote shit was stupid as fuck. Even on the Democratic side, it still makes a little bit more sense because at least it's like associated with a tangible policy position. Let's say it was like Medicare for all or forcing a vote on Medicare for all. But even then, this is exactly what was going to happen in that situation where it would just make these people look fucking insane. A comparison you can't make, by the way, within the Democratic Party, and I brought this up earlier, a comparison you can't make in the Democratic Party and the Republican Party is that the Democratic Party does not run on obstructionist policies, or rather the obstructionists within the Democratic Party are neoliberal corporatists who are always defended by the mainstream media, whereas obstructionists in the other direction that would try to disrupt process in the direction against corporate interest will be absolutely destroyed. No such similarity exists in the Republican Party, where the Republicans, their Republican base of support, do not punish the Republicans for doing this kind of thing. And even then it looks bad. Even then it still looks fucking so stupid. I guess it's still the same issues that I was just bringing up, but this conflict is a spiritual one that impacts the core of the Republican Party. It's literally the same conflict that is playing out right now between Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. It's the same issue all around the Republican Party. The stink that they have right now comes from the suffering that they're experiencing from their own personal successes. There is not a popular momentum. There is not any sort of popular movement that says, oh my God, it's so fucking sick that you're like trying to kill 1% of the population in the country. I'm of course talking about trans people. Like, there is no genuine single issue voter on the trans stuff. There isn't. In the same way that there is absolutely single issue voters on the gun stuff. The reality is that, and not even 1%, exactly. Like, there's no appetite for this. There's no appetite for a national abortion ban. There was no appetite for eviscerating Roe v. Wade. There was no appetite for any of that beyond marginal Republican bases of support. And once they actually ended up doing the damn thing, once they actually ended up following through on their 35-year project, all of a sudden you can't even lie and be like, no, actually, we're not on board with like criminalizing abortion so that people who have ectopic pregnancies in places like Texas fucking die at the operating table because doctors are too terrified of going to jail for operating on them for a medically necessary abortion. That is something you can't lie about anymore because you did it. You fucking did it. Before, you could have just dangled it in front of the fucking stupid evangelical Protestant Christians and been like, yeah, I totally want to do this. I totally want to do this. Oh, Democrats, on the other hand, they want to fucking kill your baby after it pops out of your pussy. They kept saying that. And they could get away with not really doing anything beyond the red tape and the trap laws and not criminalizing abortion, but basically making it impossible to get an abortion, especially if you're poor in one of these red states. But they had to fucking push further. So now, when you actually follow through on some of those policies, especially ones that are so tangibly and immediately ruining the lives of people, including Republicans in red states, like Republican women in red states, Republicans who have daughters living in fucking red states who can't get an abortion, who are fucking terrified. All of a sudden, when you do that, there isn't a cognitive bias that can help you in that situation unless you're like completely fucking schizo. You're done. In the past, Republican voters could do that fucking Pew Research always comes to mind, where Republicans don't believe their own policies when focus tested on their own policies. Like, Republican voters will be asked about Republican policies and they'll go, nah, they would never do that. That confusion can no longer exist when you do the things that you've done that immediately impact the Republicans' daily lives.
I'll be paying attention to who's present and who's absent.
Secretary Castro.
Well, they're going to have enough of those Republicans that are going to be adults in the room now.
I was just kidding, dog. What the fuck? Gates' ouster of McCarthy draws attention to his ethics issues. Representative Matt Gaetz is facing a House committee inquiry into allegations of sexual misconduct and misuse of funds. Representative Kevin McCarthy has argued Mr. Gates' motive against him is payback. Oh my God. Oh, that's awesome. Who cares? What do you mean? That's fire. What? Well, yeah, it seems like Mr. McCarthy has argued that Mr. Gates' motion to remove him as Speaker is a little more than personal payback for McCarthy's failure to interfere with the inquiry, which is looking into the allegations of sexual misconduct and misuse of funds by Mr. Gates. Mr. Gates, a Florida Republican. I love that, like, Matt Gaetz is such a scumbag and he's such a little vermin that he runs around and is just like, everyone has to defend me doing possible pedophilia and sex trafficking of minors. Like, oh, I'm going to go to Trump and I'm going to be like, Mr. Trump, sir, please, can you give me like a de facto across the board full blown pardon? Or Kevin McCarthy, you have to defend me. You have to defend me. Like, oh, what if there's an ethics committee investigation into my actions? It's like, what are you, fucking crazy? Since the spring of 2021, Mr. Gates has been under investigation over allegations he engaged in sexual misconduct and illicit drug use, shared inappropriate images or videos on the House floor, misused state identification records, converted campaign funds to personal use, and accepted impermissible gifts under House rules, among other allegations. By the way, still not enough to just fucking take him out. In February, the Justice Department decided not to bring charges against Mr. Gates after concluding they could not make a strong enough case in court. That is fucking such bullshit, by the way, because they have Venmo records of him. Why is he giving $700 on Venmo to a 17-year-old? And his fucking bestie is currently in jail for sex trafficking. The double investigation that was being conducted into Matt Gaetz and his fucking bestie in Florida ended with his bestie in Florida going to jail. He's in prison now for the same shit that Matt Gaetz was being investigated for. However, a person familiar with the matter said the committee, which is made up of an equal number of Republicans and Democrats, has not yet reached out to a key witness at the search at the most serious allegations against Mr. Gaetz. People familiar with the situation spoke about the investigation on the condition of anonymity because it is confidential. Mr. McCarthy has repeatedly suggested the Ethics Committee investigation prompted Mr. Gaetz to lash out at him, blaming him for the inquiry. The ethics complaint against Matt happened in the last Congress, Mr. McCarthy said on Fox News on Monday, adding, "It would be illegal for me to do anything in that committee." Say what you want about Representative Matt Gaetz, but his friend is currently sentenced to 11 years in prison in sex trafficking case. Joel Greenberg, who is a Republican Party guy in Florida, or was, sorry, because now he is in prison. I love looking at a historic fuck up that is like absolutely blowing up the Republican Party and saying, wow, they really should have done the force to vote on the Democratic Party. It's like no one took it up because it was a dumbass idea. And then why do you even care at this point about the force to vote shit when you're not even a fucking Democrat, are you? Like, you don't give a fuck about any of this stuff. I thought this guy just like completely left the left. Why is he still tweeting about this shit? Day after day, we are shown that force to vote was correct strategy. Like, he hasn't given up on this at all. It's all petty grievances for this guy, I think. No politics whatsoever, you know what I mean? He's still talking about fucking force to vote. Yeah, I mean, literally, when your enemy is making a mistake, do not interrupt them. Sun Tzu, Art of War, straight up. That is exactly what's going on here. Like, what policy positions does Matt Gaetz even have, but what is he getting? What concessions is he getting? Imagine the energy, enthusiasm, and power to make demands the left could have had if they were more like Matt Gaetz and less like themselves. Don't forget that the liars in the lefty media who slandered us and lied to protect crooked politicians such as Cenk Uygur, Ryan Grim, etc., etc. Yeah, these are all like wrecker activities. Wreckers can come in all shapes and sizes and all different kinds of backgrounds. They can also do this like right-wing wrecker shit, which is odd because usually when I think of someone behaving in that way, to break through the ranks or like try and desperately, remove or destroy any sense of solidarity, anything like that. Even the force to vote shit is like silly and it's on a different level. But, and I don't give a fuck about like the solidarity in the Democratic Party. But wreckers come from all different backgrounds. Most of the time they're anarchists, right? Maybe Trots, CIA, that sort of shit. But then now you got right-wingers too, who like ride the aesthetics of being a supporter of the working class, but then also almost always hit that the real support for the working class only comes from the right. Like there's a real shift. There's a real attitude shift in the Republican Party. They genuinely care. Yeah, these new MAGA communists, dude. I'm not an anarchist, but I'm wondering why you hate on them so hard. I mean, I think anarchists are very important for pushing social change on the ground and doing direct action. But if you want to know why I get so fucking mad at anarchists, like look at my Twitter replies and you will see all of these like NATO defenders who claim to be anarchists or people with radical politics, revolutionary politics. And they almost always are somehow anarchists. It's odd.
And Ari, this political moment, you know, the president is campaigning on Bidenomics. People at home feel it's not working for them, at least according to the polls. There's real concern about the border, about crime around the country. These are all sweet spots for Republicans. Yeah. And yet, at this moment, the focus is on Republicans, and the White House has to be politically loving this moment.
Oh, absolutely. In an economy this bad, with all the trend lines going toward the Republicans are the ones who are saving the Democrats.
True.
And it's just amazing.
That is true. Crime, border, that stuff is mania. Mostly created by these fucking freaks, but it is effective in the sense that like Americans do care about that sort of thing. They're made to care about that sort of thing, thinking that it's a real issue. But yeah, this is a moment. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Fox News is correct. Republicans are literally gift wrapping a dub to the Democratic Party. And if it wasn't fucking Joe Biden's decrepit carcass manning the ship right now, the Democrats would be winning by Reagan levels, like historic. If the same changes were being made, not by Joseph Robinette Brandon, but instead like a younger, more dynamic Democrat, I'm not even kidding. If the same situation was occurring right now under the leadership of a more dynamic Democrat and not one that is like a fucking, decrepit carcass, the popularity of the party would be fucking unimaginable. Joe Brandon's age is such a massive burden. If this was 2008 Biden, he'd be so popular. Oh my God. He would literally, people would say, Obama who? They would literally look to, if this was 2008 Biden, people would literally hail him as the champion, like the New Deal FDR. I'm not even kidding. What some of the agencies are doing is like not actually bad. It's actually good, as a matter of fact. The economy has not recovered, of course, to a comfortable, or has gotten to a comfortable pace. But that stuff takes a lot of time. And a way to immediately remove the floodgates and allow people to feel like they're in a better economic situation is, in many instances, doing something like a massive debt relief, right? Student loan debt, maybe. That's controlled by the Department of Education. If he did something along those lines, oh my God, it would be crazy. But beyond that, if Brandon was at the level of vibrancy as Trump, or at the level of vibrancy of Bernie Sanders, like if he looked like he was all there all the time, and it wasn't just like sometimes the lights are off when he's in public, you know, and you can kind of tell. If the situation looked like that, he would be pretty popular. Here, let's go to this.
Of course, have live coverage of Kevin McCarthy's news conference coming up this hour, so everybody stand by for that. Manu, thank you very, very much.
Congressman Garcia. All right. This is Congressman Gates. Let's listen to Gates
continue
now.
our work on our appropriations bills and electing a new speaker. I was
Let's
very
go!
disappointed that Mr. McHenry said that we won't be engaging in the people's work until next week, until Tuesday of next week, and I think that's burning a lot of time.
One single member to call for a vote.
Wow, he's so upset that that Congress is shut down.
The forces out.
Notice how sad Matt Gaetz is that Congress is shut down for a week, which is definitely not what he wanted to do from the jump, and then literally ended up fucking ousting Kevin McCarthy over for stopping that from happening and knowing full well that that is exactly what would happen. Oh man, it's so sad, dude. No way.
Today, and that things, again, just seem to stay the same.
Let's go. Freedom Caucus, baby.
In the right direction. Thank you, guys.
There's nothing funnier than like the machinations that those who already control, that have institutional power within the Republican Party from the outside, obviously, their own product is now cooking them. Their own product is getting in the way of maybe even certain things that they may want to do. Their own product is basically causing the Republican Party to look bad. The Freedom Caucus, which is the Tea Party caucus, the Tea Party coalition within the Republican Party, is completely comprised of corporate-backed charlatans who decided that right-wing populism and really hammering on wedge issues, while also simultaneously using those wedge issues to just like erode the federal government's powers in an effort to deregulate for their own profit margins, to improve their profit margins rather, would be the most effective way to go about controlling the legislative body. Now, they need to get fucking Trump out of the race because they think he constitutes a threat for their profit margins, and he's too much of like a volatile entity, and he's genuinely causing a rift in the Republican base and the Republican Party, and that's partially because he's too successful as a president. So now their own demon that they have cultivated, their own demon that has been burning brightly within the Republican Party, is now hurting the Republican Party itself.
Unfortunately, 4% of our conference can join all the Democrats and dictate who can be the Republican Speaker in this House. I don't think that rule is good for the institution, but apparently I'm the only one. I believe I can continue to fight, maybe in a different manner. I will not run for Speaker again.
What's that I hear?
Pick somebody else.
On the horizon.
I hope you realize that every day I did the job, regardless whether you underestimated me or not, I wanted to do it with a smile.
Oh, shut the fuck
I grew
up.
to enjoy you, even on your toughest days and your
God, this
questions.
is so bitch made.
Saturday, I took a risk for the American public. Regardless what anybody says, no one knew whether that would pass. The Democrats didn't want that bill. Yes, they pull a fire alarm. Yes, they do their conga line. Yes, they wanted to delay.
Dude, the
But it was all
bagpipes
for the
rip
American people.
as the background
I could
on
not
this.
look the troops in the eye and say I would not pay them.
Oh, God, shut up.
For those who spoke on the floor, I thank them for their positive talks. I don't know what those who voted against and said there was some deal, they were never a part of any deal. For those who said about what we accomplished, I'm proud of what we accomplished. From the Parents' Bill of Rights to our energy bill. But if they want to hold me liable because the Senate didn't take it up or the president didn't take it up, that's politics, for what I know. But the one thing I do know, this country is too great for small visions of those 8.
Just call Matt Gaetz a pedophile, pussy.
Who are coming to visit the Capitol, this is a place I want you to visit. I liked opening the Capitol.
January 6th. He's saying, do January 6th for me. Come visit Bakersfield. Rise up.
I like people being able to visit. I hope you like being able to be back in. I think it was important that members actually show up to work as well. I've been a part of the leadership team for quite some time. We won 2 majorities. As leader, I'm proud of the fact we only gained races, only gained seats. I'm proud of the fact as a Republican leader, we elected more women. We elected more minorities. We expanded the base. I'm proud of the fact that for the 5 years I was leader, 2 election cycles, we gained 5 more seats in California, 5 more in New York. We won in places no one thought we could win. The same thing, you would underestimate me. You always said we'd lose each time
Dog,
around.
you fucking didn't win. That's why you're cooked right now.
Gain and keep the majority in the next cycle as well. For that, I look forward to
Does
your
he mean
positive
George
questions.
Santos? The one guy.
Yes.
The one guy who fucking did it, who did the damn thing that he's talking about, was a liar.
It was in this room, after we had won the majority, I had become speaker last. And Nancy Pelosi came to me. She was speaker at the time on the way out. And I told her I was having issues with getting enough votes. And she said, what's the problem? I said, they want this one person can rule you out. She was the only speaker to have changed that rule. I had the power to call the vote on her, but I never would. I lost some votes because of it. And she said, just give it to him. I'll always back you up. I made the same offer to Boehner and same thing to Paul, because I believe in the institution.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
It was a political decision by the Democrats. And I think the things they have done in the past hurt the institution. When they just started removing people from committee. And they just started doing the other things. And my fear is the institution fell today.
For 15 years of your life, this position was your life goal, and this is how you got out. These people do not have warm blood in their veins. I mean, he deserves every moment of anger and frustration that he will carry on for the rest of his life, even though he'll probably go into the fucking private sector after his run and will inevitably fucking become incredibly rich. But ultimately, the idea that like, oh man, the Democrats are undermining the speakership position is so fucking funny, because it's like literally Republicans that have weaponized every fucking facet of government for like the most idiotic reasons.
I might. Yeah. I don't know who's running it. I'll talk to people.
Oh man, I can't believe the institution is collapsing because former people before me.
Yeah, a lot of them I helped get elected, so I probably should have picked somebody else.
Yeah, his biggest failure was not stopping the pedophile ethics committee investigation in the Matt Gaetz. Oh God, American politics is such a joke, dude.
When did you make this decision? Did you know the motion eventually succeeded that you would not run again, or was this right afterwards?
Not all those 8, but these are the same people that never voted for me. They thought it was big. They went to present after we went through 15 rounds. I'm not quite sure those individuals are looking to be productive. It concerns me as a Republican based upon watching what they do. I want to be a Republican and a conservative that governs. And we're going to have to find our way to do that.
To do what? To govern to do what? Kill poor people? Like what are the policy positions that Republicans have? Again,
that we didn't get all 12 spending bills done, but we first had to do a debt ceiling that they didn't support. They held up every appropriation bill in the summer.
Everything that these fucking assholes do is literally just lie, cheat, steal, deny, obstruct, and then go back home and sit on town halls and act like they did something when, like, after all of their hurdles that they fucking put in front of legislation, like something gets pushed through Congress, oftentimes through like, through a budget deal, they will turn around and go, look at how much money I brought back to my state.
Much better.
Look at all the roads I built. That is what the Republican position is. I fucking despise them so much. I hate the Democratic Party, but
Change the rules.
goddamn, is the Republican Party just the absolute worst behemoth
Do you think
in
I let
modern
it?
society?
I mean, for the whole point, I mean, if you talk about like a Gates came to the whole conference and said, we will never use this. We'll never use this, you know. I mean, this is a man that sat there.
Wow, I
on
can't
the
believe you
14th
trusted
vote and
him.
said, okay,
Idiot.
I'm going to vote for you next time, and falls back and not. So, I mean, it's just the trustworthiness of a lot of individuals. It makes it difficult.
Fake friends!
I do not think, regardless of who the speaker is, that you should have that rule. You know, everybody had it but Pelosi, but it was never used until it started getting used against Boehner. And if the entire other, if you can always count on the other party to vote in a block against it,
Seems to me like Pelosi's has a better whip
4
than
to
you.
5 people to control whatever. So it doesn't matter even if you have 96%. So that is not a government that works. That is chaotic.
Which it doesn't
Name
even matter.
one thing I did not keep.
Gates says that there's several things you didn't keep from James.
Oh, no, tell me. What did Gates say? What did I not keep in Gates' mind? Because Gates had never been a part of a discussion. Just because Gates said something, don't believe it's true. I haven't heard him say one true thing yet.
Come on, man. Hit
On
it
what?
harder. He's debate
On
lording
what?
the reporter is
That
so
is not
Jover for him, dude.
So no. If you're going to ask the question, you're going to say it. Tell me how I did something different on the debt ceiling bill. Any of you. Tell me what I did different on the debt ceiling, that I didn't keep my word.
What is he doing?
You said it was a floor, you said it was a ceiling.
Is it not a ceiling? Okay, this is the Okay, no. When you agree to spending levels, that's the maximum amount you can spend. This is what is wrong
Bro,
with
I've been
Washington.
there. I've been there. I've been where Kevin's at.
Because it's the height that you can spend, you can also spend less. We're a different body. So does any of you believe then the Senate broke their word on the debt ceiling?
Oh, no.
Because they spent more than the limit. But somehow I'm wrong because I want to save the taxpayers more money. We're our own body. And why am I getting criticized because I'm fighting for the American people that we can eliminate waste? And you know what? We're our own body. So if we can pass the bills, and the Senate can pass the bills, but they pass them higher, but they haven't passed anything, somehow I'm wrong. I kept my word. I did not spend over the limit. They broke their word.
You don't feel you're too transactional.
Okay, you used the word, how was I transactional? If you ask a question, I want you to show an example. Give me an example.
Dude.
So what did I do this for
This
that?
is so enjoyable. This is why you guys watch me yell at chatters. Oh my God, I just realized. This is so much fun. Even if you fucking hate this person, it's so much fun watching him mauled. I just realized why so many fucking chatters who hate me watch me and
What
try to piss me
transactional
off
did
all
it?
the time.
No, I did no transactional. I tried to pass a conservative stopgap measure that secured the border and actually cut spending. The idea that they put magnetometers there, the idea that they would go to any Republican member that they had been co-sponsors of bills and they no longer could be a co-sponsor, that they would fine members $5,000 if the magnetometers went on, but when Nancy went around it or Clyburn was supposed to get a fine, it all got waived. The idea that bills didn't have to go through committee. The idea is they created a select committee on January 6th.
He keeps saying Nancy Pelosi was just a better speaker.
Do it. Look,
Which is true. She
I'm trying
objectively
to
was.
change all that and bring the body back till they can work together. But I think they did a lot of
Like that. This is what I mean, by the way, when I say Nancy Pelosi, for all of her faults and failures, was a demonstrably better speaker than Kevin
that's
McCarthy.
always been my goal.
Because she knew how to fucking whip
I
it,
just
dude.
talked
She knew
to,
how to whip it good.